Elio is currently in cinemas at this time. I haven't seen it yet. I was considering going to watch it. And then I came across something and I was like, oh my God, they tried to do that crap again. And now I'm thinking I'm just going to wait till it comes out on digital and give it a look because it's pretty much bombing at the box office at this point. And I just really have no interest in wasting my money behind yet another Pixar nonsense because I didn't see Inside Out 2. I didn't even see Inside Out 1. But I was originally interested in Elio because I wanted to know what's going on. Then it was delayed. And now we get in some nonsense that apparently they wanted to make Elio, an 11-year-old boy, gay as the day is long. But that was apparently scrapped because you have to go in now and tell people to stop doing that nonsense. And this isn't just some right-wing nonsense. You don't know, this is the Hollywood Reporter people. And they're telling it as is. Dive into this article here. Inside Elio's catastrophic path, America Ferrera's exit, director change, and erasure of queer themes, because why not? The creatives at Pixar who saw the original director's previous cut of Elio tell The Hollywood Reporter about the movie's challenging production process. Elio just became about totally nothing. I'm not even sure what the hell it was going on with. Honestly, those who worked at Pixar while its latest film release, Elio, was in production were delighted by footage they saw roughly 2 years ago. Why? We'll get to that just now. Among the moments cited as favorites by those at the animation studio at the time included a sequence in which the titular boy collected trash on the beach and turned it into a homemade apparel that included a pink tank top. The movie's team would refer to Elio showing this off to a hermit crab as his trash iron show. God have mercy. I don't even know. According to multiple insiders who spoke to The Hollywood Reporter, Elio was initially portrayed as a queer-coded character, reflecting original director Adrian Molina's identity as an openly gay filmmaker. So yet another self-insert. You have an 11-year-old, and this is what it pissed me off the most with these, but this is why nothing could ever work when it comes to them. You have a movie you're making about this. Why does anybody need to know about your identity as an openly gay filmmaker? I don't care who you sleep with. I don't. I have absolutely no interest who you just jump in bed with. None. Not a single freaking clue of interest in any of that crap. I have none. Zero. But no, it never is enough for them. You want to be openly gay, that's your business. You do you, whatever. But the fact that you want to use this movie as a self-insult, and make no mistake, people, that is exactly what it was. At the time you were doing it, you were using this child, this movie about a child, as a self-insult because this is what they want to push. They want to put these things in movies, target them at children, and then try as hell to brainwash them into this. This is what they wanted to do. This was the nonsense. Because if you want to Elio was initially portrayed as a queer-coded character. Jesus Christ, boy. Other sources say that Molina did not intend the film to be a coming-out story, as the character is 11. Yeah. So then why put it in there? Why put it in there? You think children care about any of these things? No. Only sick adults care about these things who want to push it on to children to make their own twisted behavior. acceptable to them. But either way, this characterization gradually faded away throughout the production process as Elio became more masculine following feedback from leadership. So you actually had to have the leadership come in and tell you, listen, you need to cut out the gayness. Like the same thing that reportedly happened with Inside Out 2. They really had to come in and say, you know what? You need to cut it out. You need to cut it out. We can't do this anymore. But my thing was, how do you let it get this far? You hire these people. Is nobody overlooking what they're doing to see what they're making? No, you just give these people money, tell them here, go out and do this, and then you get crap. Absolute crap. Oh my God, boy, real nonsense. I mean, look at the kind of nonsense they put out before. You understand me? You had Strange World. I've never seen to this day, don't care to see it. I don't know what that movie was, but we never actually got anything in the trailers, anything leading up to the movie to tell anybody that you know what this movie is about. No, what did they go and tell people about? Oh, one of the male leads is gay. That's what they marketed that movie on. And if you think that was it, let's look at Lightyear, an absolute disaster class in how to make crap and try to sell crap, right? Lightyear, they literally came out in Lightyear and marketed that movie on what? It has the first on-screen lesbian kiss in an animated movie. That was their big marketing strategy. And when that failed, blame everybody else. The movie was crap, by the way. I watched it. I watched the movie. The movie was absolute and utter crap, beyond crap. But that is what you marketed it with. So it's not surprising, leadership had to come back and tell you something. You literally wanted to turn that child into some kind of self-insert, nonsense, Fruit Loops kind of character to push an agenda. That's what you wanted. Gone were not only such direct examples of his passion for environmentalism and fashion, but also is seen in Elio's bedroom with pictures suggesting a male crush. You see these shits I'm talking about? You could have him be passionate about environmentalism. He could do that. Hell, you could even have him be passionate about fashion. There is a manga that I saw not too long ago. I was reading a couple chapters of it, of a boy who ends up in an all-girls school and it has fashion involved in it. And it's not any kind of thing where the other, what's going on. Or if you want something even more kind of people would know, if you want something a little more recent that people would know, you could look at My Dress Up Darling, which is also a manga and an anime that involves fashion and cosplay and these kind of things. You could do that. You could input these kind of things into a movie without doing it, but no, you cannot do it because that's where your mind ultimately goes to. Environmentalism and fashion, but of course, we must add in a scene in Elio's bedroom with bedroom with pictures suggesting a male crush because you want to push an agenda. It was a self-insert nonsense. That is what it was. That is what it was. I was originally interested in the movie, kind of like, okay, some kid getting taken into space. I wonder what's going on there. What's up with his eye? I want to know what was going on. No, you can't have that because you must ruin every freaking thing. Hints at the trash fashion remain in the release film with the boy wearing a cape decorated with discarded cutlery and soda can tabs, although without any explanation for the unusual attire. You could have easily said, you know what, he likes to make unusual things, he uses trash and discarded things, and he's talented at it. Easy as that. Easy as that. But no, that would be too hard to get anything done. I tell you, boy. Elio's turbulent ride began well before its culminating news at the box office during the June 20 to 2022 corridor. Indeed, the summer of 2023 became a fateful one for the animated film about a lonely boy beamed into outer space by an intergalactic organization after being misidentified as the leader of Earth. Okay, that song's interesting. The writing was first on the wall for a troubled production when the film from Molina, known as the co-director of Pixar's Oscar-winning 2017 hit Coco. Oh, you made Coco, but you couldn't do anything else. No, the minute that they give them any free reign, like you give them an inch, that'll take more than a mile and more. Conducted an early test screening in Arizona. Although viewers expressed how much they enjoyed the movie, they were also asked how many of them would see it in a theater. Not a single hand was raised. Of course not. According to a source with knowledge of the event, this sounded alarm bells for studio brass. My thing about it is that the studio gave this man money and instructed him to make this nonsense, putting all this queerness into it. And he did, and they said nothing. And only when you did a test screening, and everybody was like, yeah, okay, would you see it in cinema? Would you see it in cinema? Suddenly the crickets went off, and that's when you said, hey, you know what? We might have a problem here. Not before. Not before, because you learned nothing from Strange World. You learned nothing from Lightyear. No, no, you have to continuously show everybody just how stupid you are. It was around this time that Molina screened his latest cut of the film to Pixar leadership. So that's when they see it. There are differing accounts of the exact feedback that the director received from Pixar boss Pete Docter when the lights went up, with rumors circulating in some of the studio circles that Molina was hurt by the conversation. The part that is clear is that Molina exited the project soon after, and much of Elio was reworked under new directors Madeline Shafian and Domi Shi. Okay. After a year-long delay, the film arrived in theaters June 22nd and bombed with just 20.8 million domestically, the lowest opening frame at the box office in Pixar's history. Looking over at the numbers here, Elio right now is sitting at 73 million worldwide box office. So that's not great for our opening. At this time, it's 11 days in cinema. It's not really fantastic at all for an opening like that. No, coming up on 2 weeks and it doesn't seem to be moving any kind of needles at all. After a year, right, so I was deeply saddened and aggrieved by the changes that were made, says former Pixar assistant editor Sarah Ligachich, or I hope I pronounced that correctly, who provided feedback during Elio's production. As a member of the company's internal LGBTQ group, Pix Pride, Jesus Christ, I have a group. Although she praises Sharafian and she as filmmakers, I was going to say Sarah notes that a number of creatives working on the film stepped down after the director shared their first cut of the movie. The exodus of talent after that cut was really indicative of how unhappy a lot of people were that they had changed and destroyed this beautiful work. Another Pixar source disputes that people stepping down in response to Molina's departure. The changes to Elio were clear to one former Pixar artist who worked on the film and asked to remain anonymous. It was pretty clear through the production of the first version of the film that studio leaders were constantly standing down these moments in the film that alluded to Elio's sexuality of being queer. Not long after that final 2023 screening of Molino's cut for Pixar Brass, the company announced internally that Molino would take a break from the project, leading to a period of inactivity for those working on the film. Now, the bottom line of it is that the people who worked at Pixar years ago that made it fantastic are gone. They're long gone. It has been infiltrated by a bunch of deranged activists who want to push disturbed agendas and act like everybody is supposed to sit down, shut up, and be happy that they're pushing it. That's what's going on. It's not funny, it's not interesting, it's nothing. You wanted to push as much of this nonsense into this movie as possible because that's what you wanted to do. That's what this was. You couldn't make a movie about a boy who gets mistaken for the leader of Earth and taken up there. No, you have to push in a bunch of queerness inside of there for an 11-year-old child. A movie about an 11-year-old child. That's what you're doing. And this is why these movies always, from the characters, always do this kind of thing because nothing, the stories are never about the stories. It's always about, the sexuality pushing, the queerness pushing, the this pushing, the that pushing at the front, and the story way behind there. And now, you literally had to have, the actual people in charge come in and say, listen, you gotta ease up on that nonsense. We're not taking it. And that's what happened. I'm telling you, at this point, Pixar is going to keep raiding that nostalgia vault because keep, trust me, eventually it's going to reach the point where we're going to have like Toy Story 87, where Andy is old and the toys strip him and go, we could always move and we always hated you for giving us away. And then he just kind of croaks right there. So that's all that they have going for them, just going back into it. What other Toy Story movie you want to tell? What other Shrek movie? Come on, these are just ridiculous at this point. You can't make anything good because you staffed your company with a bunch of activists who care nothing about anything other than just pushing their agendas. So yeah, that's what Elio was going to be about. We're going to push as much queerness as possible, but even without that, still bombing. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. If you have a different opinion, I'd love to hear it. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell to be notified every time I put a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.